Hey everybody, welcome to Table for Two. I'm Wenzy.
And I'm the elusive Bigfoot.
Today we're going to talk about Yvette's 33-30 rule. Did I say that right?
You did.
33-30 rule. So in the gaming world, we all teach games occasionally, and the 33-30 rule is about that, right? Well, tell us a little bit more about it, Yvette.
Yeah. So I got this idea when I was watching this gentleman on YouTube. He is from Gaming Rules, and he was explaining how when he was working with a certain company, he was teaching the people when they demo the games to get them playing in 3 minutes. And I kind of expanded it a bit more. So the 33-30 rule is a way to maximize the number of people who can experience the game and keep the experiences short so that they're left with having experienced the game, but not so over into it that they don't have an opportunity to go anywhere else. So 33-30. In 30 seconds, give me your elevator pitch, your overview. In 3 minutes, get me playing. And in 30 minutes, I know whether or not I'm buying this game.
33-30.
Right.
Got it. Yeah, I think we've all had the experience of wanting to demo a game or wanting to try out a game, and it just takes hours and hours to learn how to do it or to be explained for it to be explained how to do it. And it's just a little too long, huh?
Well, and you bring up a good point. I used to demo games a lot. And I would demo it at different conventions. And a couple of things I noticed. One thing that I noticed is that there are some people who thought demoing the game meant playing the entire 2 or 3 hour long game with one or two people, which when you do the math, how many people are actually going to get a chance to experience this game? If you're very lucky, 10 people in a day, 10 times how many days you're there. Was it worth going to the convention to demo it for maybe 30 people? I don't know. So that's part of it. Another part is I would be the person who is like waiting to find out more about a particular game. And I would be in the game room 3, 4 hours very easily in a convention that is not focused on games, but has it as an element. And I never got around to trying any of it. And I left feeling left out, like I missed an opportunity to try something, and there was never an opportunity to hit the timing quite right. And then I've also been the person who's playing the game, and after 2 hours, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have other things to do. I didn't know this was going to take that long. In 2 hours, I could have tried a whole bunch of games. So from this, I developed the 33-30 rule. And what I found is that the people who I was teaching to play games, it got them playing very quickly. I gave them enough information so they got the sense of how it played. And of course, I'd help them along as we were playing, and I would feed them more and more information, give them the basics. And with each round, they learn a little bit more until they're finally playing the full game by like 20 minutes in. So that's how I came up with it.
Right. Let's break down the 33-30 part a little
Hmm.
bit, right?
Hmm.
So you say the 30 part is 30 seconds,
The
right?
first
So
30. Hmm.
so you want to explain what the game is to me basically in 30 seconds. And I think most people are familiar with the idea of an elevator pitch, but why don't you go over just the basics of what you would do in that 30 seconds?
Sure. In 30 seconds, I'm going to give you like what kind of mechanics it has, if there's a story behind it, and what is going to be the end goal. Now, I know that everyone likes to say to win. Well, no kidding. But what do I need to know? Is it to have territory domination? Is it to kill the other player? Is it a co-op game? I mean, I just want to know it takes place in this century. We are glass blowers. I'm making this up. We are glass blowers in this century, and we decided we want to try and display all our wares at an art gallery. And so at the end of the game, we want to see how many pieces we can actually have displayed. Something along that. It is enough information that if there is somebody who's like, oh, that sounds intriguing, I'd like to know more, they would say that. But for other people where that is just not their type of game, they can very easily move on and there's no hard feelings either way.
All right, so a 30-second pitch on what the game is, right?
Hmm.
Then you mentioned three, right?
Yeah, in 3 minutes, get me playing. So what
Get
that
me
looks
playing.
like is we start playing immediately. Like, I'm just going to give you what you're going to be doing is you're going to be rolling these dice and then you're going to move these pieces. You get one movement per pip. I'm making this up again. Or maybe it looks like the first thing you want to do is you want to choose between these actions. I suggest for your first round, do something that looks like this. And most of the time, I'll go first so that others get a chance to see what that looks like. And by the time it goes all the way around, people kind of get a sense. And I always put the person who struggles or is going to struggle the most last, so they have a chance to see multiple people doing it before we get to them. Um, and then one other thing that I like to do is just feed them a little bit of information as we go along. As soon as they feel like I am actually playing, they get excited.
Yeah, so I think we've all had the experience of trying to learn a rule book
Mm,
before playing the game,
hmm
and sometimes it might take an hour or two to figure out the rules
hmm
from reading the rule book. So when you get someone playing in 3 minutes, how do you do that? Would you choose rules to leave out? Do you reveal them later? How do you do that in 3 minutes?
It's a combination of things. If I'm demoing a game, I know what is the most important thing for them to know in this particular turn, what they need to do. And sometimes we'll even say, let's just play a fake round so you can see how this goes. And we're going to wipe the board and we'll start again. I mean, it just kind of depends, but I make sure that they hit the most important things that they need to do now. Now, that said, there are some people who really need to know all of the rules up front before they even start playing. And if we try to play, there's so many questions that the 33 rule will definitely not apply. So this rule isn't for everyone, but I have found that in demoing at different conventions and events, it works great.
All right, so we talked about the 30 and the 3. No, we talked about the 30 and the
The first
3.
30?
The first 30 and the 3. Let's talk about the last 30,
Ah,
which
yeah.
is that you'll know whether you want this game after playing it for 30 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So do you choose just to play one round or one turn of the game or a small portion of the game? How do you get that done in 30 minutes?
Well, it's basically by that point, we're actually playing the game. You've had several rounds. I get a sense of how this game starts to go. I don't stack the deck, but I will mention certain things. If it seems like something important isn't going to be experienced in that first 30 minutes, then I'll say later on, like when you get halfway through the game, there will be a scoring feature, or there could be an opportunity to do this, this, and this, or you might have an opportunity to change your character out. So I make sure that those elements are also known. But by 30 minutes, you've played enough of the game that you get a sense of most of the mechanics. And then, I mean, anybody who's been playing games for a while, they kind of know what kind of games they like. And if they haven't been playing games very long, it gives them an exposure to what these types of mechanics are. And I do let them know this is a co-op game, or this is area control, or with worker placement. Now you're going to start to place your workers out there. So they start to get have the experience of what this game is going to offer them.
Right. So in addition to wanting to have this experience yourself, right?
Mhm.
When you offer this experience to other people, have you done it actually at a show or at a convention?
Oh, I've
And
done it a lot. Yeah, it goes
and
over really well.
I was going to say, what has been the response in terms of the, do you get through a more, do you get through a higher number of people trying out the games? Do you get more enthusiasm about it? Tell me a little bit about what the differences are between using the 33-30 method and just slogging through a whole 2 hour game.
Yeah, well, and the way you said slogging through a 2 hour, let's be honest, the first time any of us play a game, it sometimes can feel like slogging. And so the experience that and the feedback that I've gotten is people are excited, they get the idea. Sometimes it's like a filler moment while they're waiting for something else to happen, or they're just there in the room to try out different games, as many as they can. So they feel like they've been exposed to the game. If I'm in a store or I'm at a convention where they're selling the game, I let them know where they can pick it up. Where can you buy the game? Um, I very rarely have someone say, "Can we keep going?" Well, if I don't have anybody else who is waiting to see what this game is like, I have no problem keep going. And sometimes there's people who are waiting their turn to get to play. So I invite them, you know what? Why don't you play with us with this other group? Because now there's more people who kind of get the idea of the game and it moves faster because now you're surrounded by people who know how to play.
All right. So if you're teaching a game,
Mhm.
you might try to implement the 33-30 rule. Next time you do that, or some variation of it, give it a shot. Make it a little easier on the people that you're teaching the game to. Make them a little more comfortable with it.
Yeah,
And just before we wrap up, can you tell us within 30 seconds, tell us one more time what the 33-30 rule is?
absolutely. 33-30. In 30 seconds, I want to know the overview of this game and what is the point of me playing it? Like, what are the big mechanics I need to know? What's the big idea? In 3 minutes, you will have me playing that game. I'm no longer just listening to rules. I'm actually in the game playing it. And the last 30 minutes, I already know whether or not I want to buy this game. 33-30.
All right, so that's the 33-30 rule as developed and described by our own elusive Bigfoot. For Table for Two, I'm Onesie.
I'm the Elusive Bigfoot.
We'll see you next time.
Thanks. Oh, and by the way, we will put a link to the gaming rules person so that way you can check out his stuff too because it's really good.
All right, bye.
Bye.